got that. I got that.
Hey, all
Yeah,
right.
baby. Yeah. How are you?
Good.
Nice to see you.
Wow, I like the
You
barn
come
door.
from yet a new location.
Awesome.
Yeah. You like that barn door? I kind of like it too.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this condo that I've listed is in the bathroom. There's like a shelves with the towels and stuff, and there's a
Yep.
barn door that closes it so you can't see it. And then there's also a barn door like that in the bedroom that opens
Huh.
up to the master closet. It's really
Oh,
cool.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of the new popular thing. I like the hardware above it. Kind of cool.
So I'm actually missing some things today because I have a backpack, this one right here,
You know.
where I keep my stuff in there. You know, the except the speaker that I use. How do you hear me? Is it okay? Is it coming through okay? Or
Oh, it sounds really good. Yeah.
yeah, you know, and the I don't know what Terry, because I took that thing up north. Terry put some of my stuff in that backpack, and the stuff that I usually carry in it, which is the stuff for the podcast, is not there, and I can't find it. And she's in the middle of a meeting, so I can't get her. So today we're
So
going to be doing a little.
let me get this straight. You're blaming Terry for this? Is that what's going on?
Well, she's not here, so I have to blame somebody. I didn't take the things out of.
Always blame the defenseless. I love that.
Yeah, but I didn't take the stuff out of the backpack. I always have it in the backpack from day one that we did this.
Mhm.
And then I noticed that when I went up north, she had some of my stuff in my backpack. And I don't know
I
where
see where you're going.
huh?
I see where you're going.
So I don't know where she put it. So we'll do everything we can, right? That's all.
When you say up north, you got kind of stuck up north thanks to Southwest Airlines.
Wow, what a
Frustrating time.
cluster
Cluster.
cluster flight.
Flight. What a flight cluster. Yeah,
So
yeah. Days and days and days.
on the way up, I didn't. On the way back, we flew together, but on the way up, I went out in differently. So I was in Tampa at 12 o'clock to get an airline, a flight. But there was storms going up the East Coast, so they delayed it for 3 hours.
Right.
And they finally put us in the plane. And we're going out to the runway. We're getting ready to take off. We're ready picking up speed already, and they slowed down and says, "Well, we have to go back to the terminal because the crew is out of time."
They didn't know that before you left the terminal and started down the runway?
That's what everybody else. But I guess they do. They knew that, but they knew that because they were supposed to leave at 12. So now they bring us back to the terminal, and we have to sit there and see if they can find another crew. But they
And you're
couldn't
sitting on
find
the
them.
plane.
So we got out of the plane, went back to the terminal. They're trying to find another crew to take us. And then they said, "Well, we're not gonna be able to do it until 10:30 at night departure instead of 12 o'clock like it's supposed to be." So I was supposed to be in Providence at 1:30 in the morning, you know, and I didn't have
How's that going to work?
no, ain't gonna work. So then I said, "No, I'm going home and I'll find another thing." So then the next day I grabbed a flight. On the way back, we had flights to go in Southwest,
Right.
and they canceled one of them. So we go to the waiting for the next one. Then they canceled that one. Then they canceled that one. So they canceled everything, all the flights.
Ugh,
So I know there's a problem
frustrating.
with Southwest. I'm not sure what it is, but
I think the weather set it off, but they were certainly melting down. They blamed it on their technology. I haven't heard much since, but people were frustrated.
oh yeah.
I imagine a lot of them will never fly Southwest again.
So the thing is, when I went to book my flight, the original one, when it was time for me to pay, there was a thing that said credit card or points or something.
Points, yeah,
So what the heck was that? So I clicked on the push to see what was going on. I had 50,238 points. I didn't even know I had.
with Southwest.
Right, so I playing with points. So then on the way back, you know, we're together, Terry and I. So she bought some points because she couldn't use my points, so she bought some points. It would be cheaper that way, so we could both fly together. So then now we have all these points that they reversed my points and her points. But
Oh, so they gave you points for
oh
your
no, I'm sorry.
frustration.
They reversed my points. I have them back, but hers they won't reverse those because that was something she bought. So now we have to fight them about that. I'm not good.
Wow.
Not happy about it. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I was just looking at flights for Florida for March, and I was on JetBlue, and I was surprised how inexpensive they were.
But we finally bought flights on JetBlue. So we bought flights for Southwest, didn't use it, and then we had to buy flights through JetBlue.
Oh, so you went home on JetBlue? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I was surprised. I was flying round trip to Florida for under $300. I thought that was pretty good.
It's pretty good, yeah.
So I'm gonna pick the dates and figure it out. I'm coming out in March sometime
I know, huh?
for a live podcast, maybe, perhaps.
So if we have a reason to do a rim shot, I don't have the
Oh yeah.
I don't have my thing because Terry put it away someplace where it's safe. So I'm gonna have to give you the signal, and you're gonna have to do it.
It's very safe wherever it is.
Yeah, but it's not as loud as the regular one that I use.
Well,
See what I mean?
I do. I understand. I understand. I do.
I know you do.
Well, Christmas, we had New Year's, we had all sorts of stuff going on.
So my son, the one who lives in Norway,
Yeah.
sent me a messenger thing saying "help!" With exclamation points, 3 exclamation points. So I said, "What's up?" He goes, "When I close my eyes, I can't see."
He is his father's son, isn't he?
So I said, "Thanks, son, for giving me a dad joke. I appreciate that."
That's where you've been getting your material from all these years, huh?
So I always wonder what a dad joke means because people tell you sometimes I think people jokes and they say, "Oh, that's a great dad joke." And I'm like, "What is that anyway? I don't get it."
I think that means you and I are going to laugh at them because they're pretty funny, but it's corny and silly, and people who are a generation younger than us will roll their eyes at it. Like, oh my God, you're so stupid. But they're funny, most of them.
I know, huh?
And,
So we both have something in common now. We both lost a sibling to cancer. Wow.
yeah. And of course, we see each other again live under sad circumstances because I'm in this line of your family and meeting everybody and greeting everybody and saying sorry for the, condolences and for your loss. And we just did this 6 months ago for your mom. And so your brother Joe, I tell you, I never met Joe. I was so struck. First of all, the amount of family you have together was amazing. It was massive. And it's so important at these times to have that, which is beautiful. But the amount of people, I think Maria was the first one. You know Maria, that's your sister who likes me better than you
Well, she likes you better than me in the podcast.
in the podcast. But I had commented something I never met Joe, and several people said, "Oh," and they were so heartfelt. I wish you had met him. And I left there really feeling like I missed something important in my life by not knowing your brother.
He was loved by many. On the day that you showed up a little later, but they had over 500 people that came through. That I had to shake hands and hug and kiss and shake hands and hug and kiss, which is it's cool though. But a lot of them were crying because so he worked at Gould's
The men's shop?
men's shop. Yeah. So here's the
You
deal.
were telling me that.
Did I tell you about that?
A little. I knew Gould's because they had a couple locations, didn't they? Well, Hudson, there was one down in Medway.
And the other and then there's one in Acton.
Acton.
So the one in you'll probably appreciate this because everybody says, "Well, we love working with your brother. He was so awesome." I says, "Yeah, but if it wasn't for me, you would never have met him because I was the one that got the job first at Gould's in Hudson."
Really?
So I was selling these energy management systems where you go to a company and there's like a computer thing that you hook up to their heater, water heater, the furnace, all that stuff. And what it does is it instead of it going on for 20, 30 minutes, it would go on for about 17 minutes or 12 minutes or whatever it was. And it'd come back on. So it would go on more often, but it's less minutes through the day. So it would save money. So I was doing a presentation to Mr. Gould about this. And it was like a 17 page flip chart, right?
Yeah.
And every third page of something, there was something on the bottom that I was supposed to say that made no sense at all compared to what I was saying before that to see if they're paying attention.
Oh, it was purposely put in there to see if the person was paying attention.
Yeah, so I said something. Mr. Gould's a real nice guy, and he's passed away too. But I said something in that didn't make any sense. And he just shook his head and like I said, "Mr. Gould, You asked me to come over here and give a presentation on this product that would save you some money in your, heating and air conditioning, all this stuff. I just said something. I repeated what I said. It has nothing to do with what we were talking about. I just wanted to see if you were paying attention. And you didn't even notice that I said something that didn't make sense. He goes, "Wow, Tony, that's good. That's a good technique that you use. Wow." So he wasn't upset. He was impressed with it, right?
You called him out, and he admitted it. Yeah.
And so then I did three times during the thing. He says, "Tony, I got to tell you something. I would love to have a guy like you work at our store because you're Portuguese and there's a lot of Portuguese people here in Hudson. You have a good personality. Obviously, you know how to sell. Because I've never had a salesman do what you did to me 3 times. You caught me off guard, and you were doing it on purpose to make sure that I was paying attention. So I really respect that." I said, "Well, Mr. Gould, here's the situation right now. I'm here to present this product with this company for your company, and if you and I decide talking about maybe employment for me, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to lose the sale.
Right.
So let's finish this up, and once we have everything installed, I'll come back and talk to you, and we can talk about the possibility of me working here." He goes, "Man, you are good. That's awesome."
You had to respect that. I like that.
It's like, you didn't let me sidetrack." I says, "No, sir. That's not why I was here. This was a game of baseball, but you were talking football, and now we're going to have to finish the game of baseball, and then 2 weeks later we can talk football or something." So anyway, I go back over there. I talk to you, hired me. So
Wow.
I was out there for about 3 months, and I took another job because it wasn't my thing. So I said, "I'm going to be leaving." He goes, "Oh man, I was really enjoying you. You're really good with people, and people came in. You talked to them, and you were making relationships and stuff." I said, "Well, here's the situation. My brother worked for H.H. Scott Company. This is like a company that did all kinds of high-end stereos for nightclubs and stuff.
Yeah.
And he just got laid off, so he's looking for some work. And here's the situation. Number one, he knows more people in Hudson than I do. Number two, he's a much better dresser than I am. And he would be a really good person for you to talk to instead of me. Because I'm
Wow.
moving on to somebody else. Well, I'd love to talk to him. So I called my brother and told him that. He goes, "Sure." So he went down there and he hired him. And he was awesome there. And then finally, when Mr. Gould died, they closed the store in Hudson. And my brother was managing the store in Acton. And he was the even though they still had some family
Yeah.
members, he was the leader there.
He was the big cheese.
The big cheese, yeah. So all these people that came through the line, some of those ladies were crying when they saw him in the thing, and they were saying that your brother was so great. I said, "I know, I'm the one that got him that job." I had to tell that story, so I'm not taking any credit for it. But here's what happened. And I told him, I said, "If it wasn't for me, you never would have met him. So you got to thank me." They were
I'm
laughing.
not taking any credit, but if it wasn't for me, you would have never met him.
Well, you know
Oh,
how that is, yeah.
wow.
That's kind of interesting, though.
And your brother, what, he was 70?
70. So there was 6 of us altogether, and the thing is that, without a doubt, if anybody else, who's the healthiest one in the family, we'd say Joe, because he didn't drink much, just a little wine here, there, with meal.
Yeah.
Didn't smoke. He walked 4 miles a day every day.
Wow.
Just a healthy guy. Ate well and stuff, and then he caught cancer.
Mm-hmm.
He was down in Miami on his birthday, and he got sick, so he thought it was COVID. So he went to a test, but it was negative, so it wasn't COVID. So he came back and he's just coughing and coughing and coughing. So I was talking to him. I said, "Joe, I'm not a doctor, but I think what you have is something wrong with your lungs, because when you're coughing, it doesn't sound like a regular cough. It's just like, I think there's something wrong with your lungs. You need to go to the doctor."
Hmm.
So he goes, and they found that it was a stage 4 cancer in his lungs.
Lung cancer.
So a lot of doctors say that unless people are real big smokers, they never get cancer in the lung.
Right.
But it could be in the pancreas that came over. But so it was when they found what it was, they said it was stage 4 already. They had already moved to his liver and stuff.
Yeah. So they call that metastasized, already metastasized to another organ. That was my sister's situation too. By the time she was diagnosed, it already metastasized and was taken over. It doesn't discriminate. It just, healthy people and crazy.
And they gave him the chemo for months, and it didn't do anything. So they finally took him off the chemo, and then they did nothing for a month, and they took him to what's that place in Boston?
Yeah, Dana Farber.
In the fiber, they took him because they had a trial thing that we're going to do with him. The trial thing didn't work either, so it was too late or something. I don't know. What a
I
shame.
remember you telling me that he was sick before your mom had died, and she was really worried about it.
Oh yeah, she didn't want him to go first. No,
Well, I found myself a little bit, this is strange to say, but at the wake, a little just thinking about the timing, thankful that he didn't die before your mom, because for her sake, you're just not supposed to bury a child. My
no, that's
goodness.
what she was so worried about that she doesn't
Right.
want to bury her son. You know, and they live
Ugh,
together and everything.
wow.
So the negative, of course, everybody you know what the negative is, but the positive is that I hadn't been up there for a while,
Yeah.
and you know the way the family worked was when Joe was there, my mother was there. They'd all show up on a Sunday or something. They'd call up some stores, some restaurants, and pick up these big trays of food. And
I bet.
they just show up, and the whole family get together. And I hadn't
Love
done
it.
that in a long time because I'm not up there, but while I was there, we all did that. And it was awesome.
That's nice.
And
And
so there
where'd
was
you do that? Is it one of the other siblings' house, or where'd you do that at?
no at Joe's house. I was staying at Joe's house,
Oh, okay.
and we did it there. And then for Christmas Eve, we had all these because my we have a bunch of nieces, and
Yeah.
some of the nieces have children, and so all the kids came in with the pajamas. You know, most of them had the same pajamas, everything.
Yeah.
It was 30 of us, about 30 of us in the house there in Joe's place. And the kids that were opening the gifts and stuff. It was so awesome.
Oh, that's
You
fun.
know, even though it was a tough thing, because Joe and my mother weren't there, but
Yeah.
the family was there. That was so touching. It was amazing.
But yeah, beautiful memories anyway. So there were six siblings. Where was Joe in the birth order?
Joe was the oldest.
Oldest.
He was the oldest, but I had the most wisdom.
And knew the most people and got him the job anyway.
Oh man, that's crazy, huh?
Wow. And then, quite frankly, it was a blessing you got stuck up here because of the airlines. You spent more time, and that must have been kind of nice.
So I was thinking about remember the last one we did where we were talking about the turkey jam with the betting courts,
Yeah.
and you asked me if Terry has a sister. And I said,
Yes, I did, because there was a woman standing in front of me who had blonder hair but face. I'm like, well, she looks like Terry.
so here's the deal. She has a sister that lives in Scottsville, Virginia, just south of Charlottesville.
Yeah.
But she was at the show. So I don't know. It could have been her.
So you know how I'll figure this out because I was at one point in the show, they took a quick break for that 30-piece orchestra to come up on stage. And I was standing over by where that door goes into the kitchen,
Yeah.
which is kind of like a backstage door because the stage came across the front. And our friend Pedro came out. I've known Pedro for years. So he comes out and he's talking to somebody, and I tapped him on the shoulder, and he's like, hey. And I introduced him to Lynn, and I said, you guys sound terrific. And that's when he said, listen, the next 10 songs are going to blow your mind because it was about the orchestra thing. But then he kind of said, excuse me, I got to say hello to my friend. And he went over to talk to that person. So I can find out who that was by asking Pedro.
Oh, really?
But that was a lot of fun. And I told you what Lynn said. This is such a fun night. Now, we were just kind of looking back at 2022, reflecting on our concerts. We saw Paul McCartney this year. We saw Ringo Starr this year. We saw some big stuff. And far and away, that Turkey Jam with the Betancourts was her favorite show of the whole year.
Yeah.
She loved it. And the set list, it was unbelievable.
Yeah. They are amazing, aren't they? And so not only are they great musicians, which is amazing, but they're also good people.
Yeah.
They really are, all of them.
I was listening. I still got a couple of videos in my phone from that show. And that song by Bread, I would give everything I own.
Yeah, yeah.
So Paulo sang lead on that, and I was looking at the video. My God, did he just crush that song? His voice was incredible, and I've listened to the Flesh CD a couple times since then. I forgot how good that was. Also, when the show was over, Marcus Sharon was right in front of us, so I stopped and introduced myself. I said, "Man, I'm a big fan." We talked for a bit. And man, I forgot how good that CD is. And boy, Paul, he just sounded amazing on that Brett song. My goodness, I'm going to send you that video because you got to hear this. It wasn't the whole song, but wow.
And then there's that song that Nuno sang. I think it's the Guitar Man or something. Guitar Man.
Mm.
I think
Oh,
that was one of his favorite songs ever. The lyrics and stuff. So he sang that. That was pretty cool.
yeah. It was a fun night.
So
Fun night.
I know I've told you about this before, but Extreme was playing at Clearwater, Florida on the 25th anniversary tour, right? So I was, at my band, Oyster Bone, we went. I guess, hey, you guys want to go see Extreme? Yeah, yeah. So I get some tickets, but they didn't really know that I was good friends with the band. Of course, we had never really discussed that. So we go to the show, and then they love the show. And I says, "What are you guys doing after this?" I says, "Oh, I don't know. We'll go over a beer." I says, "Yeah, let's go meet the band, man. Come on." They're like, "Oh, yeah, right." I says, "No, seriously, I can get us in there." He says, "Yeah, right. I'm sure you can." Yeah, yeah. So, they're like, so I said, "Just follow me." So we got back there, and there's a section of people that paid extra with the tickets to be VIP, so they can get
Yeah.
photos with the band and they get autographs or whatever.
Right.
I'm sitting down at this table with the guys, but they wanted to go and get in line to meet the band, right? I said, no, no, you don't want to do that because if you guys do that, they're going to talk to you for 10 seconds each, just like they do with those other people. If you sit here and stay here with me, when everybody's gone, the band will come to us and sit with us and talk to us. And they're like, man, you're a dreamer. I says, no, I'm telling you, just
You're a dreamer.
so when all the people are gone, the band comes over. Nuno gives me a big hug and stuff. Says, hey, who are these guys? I said, these are guys that are in my band. Says, what's your band? I said, Oyster Bone. Goes, wow, what a great name for a band. Wow, who came up with that? And I said, you know, so I told him the story how
The one with all the wisdom.
I told him how we came up with the name of Oyster Bone. He thought that was the best.
Yeah.
That's that time that he was talking to the band. The other guy, all the band was there talking to us, but Nuno told us a story about Paul McCartney when he was going to be on stage with Rihanna,
Yeah.
Kanye West, and I guess it was
Oh,
Paul McCartney, Kanye, and Rihanna, and Nuno was the guitar player.
right.
He was doing so. Nuno got there. He was the first one to get there. He was rehearsing the thing for that show.
Oh, that's right. He walked in by himself, right, Nuno?
Yeah, he was over there playing by himself, right? And then some guy tapped him on the shoulder. What are you working on, mate? He looked back and it was Paul McCartney.
I love it.
He says, "Whoa!" He says, "So Paul McCartney was by himself." He says, "Can I sit in?" He says, "Yeah." So now he's playing with Nuno. Nuno's showing him what he's doing. He's playing with it and stuff, and they're talking. And then Nuno said, "You have no idea what this means because my family, the
I
Beatles,
knew it.
the
And you
Beatles
can't tell this story.
yeah, the Beatles are like gods to the Betancourt." He says, "Especially my oldest brother, he loves you, man. We all do, but especially him." He goes, "Well," he says, ring him up, mate."
Let's ring him up. Is this Louis?
No, Nuno,
Yeah, but he's talking about his brother Louis.
no, Robert,
Robert. Okay.
the older one.
Yep.
So Nuno says, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah." So he calls Robert on the FaceTime.
Yes.
"Hey, man, I got a guy that here wants to talk to you." He says, "Oh yeah, who's that?" He says, "Well, hold on, I'll give him the phone." So he gives the phone to Paul McCartney. He goes, "Hey, how you doing, mate?" And Robert started crying.
I bet he did.
So I'm sitting there with Oyster Bone with Nuno telling us that story, and now they realize that I must know this guy or something. So then Nuno told me a story about how he knew me. When he was 8 years old, I used to pick on him all the time, but I was over at his house every day because I played soccer with his brothers, played in the band with his brothers, and I dated his sister for 2 years.
You're what, 4 or 5 years older than Nuno?
10 years old.
10 years. Okay.
He just turned 56, and I just turned 66.
Got it.
So I don't play guitar as well as he does, but I have more wisdom, you know. But I won't.
So, and you did it again because I've heard this a couple of times. And I remember I was driving somewhere with my buddy Joe, and I called you because Joe's the biggest Beatles fan I know.
Yeah.
And I called you and said, "Hey, tell Joe that story." And I think for me, the coolest thing about that story, because the only person I know in that story is you, just how touched you were by the story, because you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
tell that story without crying,
Even
which
now,
is amazing.
even now, I must have, but I controlled it a little bit. It's just such an amazing thing because
I heard it.
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's incredible.
it's an
I
amazing
mean, what a
thing.
blessing.
I love it when people are that successful, but they're still good people.
Oh,
I think we might have talked about this before. Paul McCartney, you know that guy that does late show that sometimes he brings in artists and they do car karaoke.
Oh, the carpool karaoke, James Corden.
Yeah, James Corden. So he did a thing where he was with Paul McCartney.
I saw that one. They start. Oh God, yeah.
So they're driving through where Paul McCartney used to live in England and stuff. And he says, "Oh, that's the house I lived in right over there." And James Corden said, "Hey, let's go see if we can get in there." And I don't know if we're set up or not, but they knock on the door.
And I think it's a museum, right? Like there's a person working there.
I don't know. I thought the lady, but the lady let him in. I thought she bought the
I
house right
forget.
away.
I forget.
And then they were doing the car karaoke thing where they're singing together. That was amazing. So they go to this bar and
Oh,
they talk about. I don't know how it came up, but all of a sudden, there's people that knew that he was there. They found out they were there. The place is just filling up with people. And then there's a point where this big curtain opened up and there was a band on the stage.
yes.
Play some stuff.
And it was McCartney.
McCartney so it says, "Hey, you want to go up and do something?" He says, "Huh?" So he goes up and he plays with these guys. What a show for the guys that were the people that were at the
Oh,
bar, right?
it's amazing.
Oh,
That's a fun one. In fact, in that one, the carpool karaoke, they must have had some camera like up in the rearview mirror, and James Corden is singing a song. I forget what it was. And then Paul McCartney jumps in and sings with them, and James Corden starts crying as he's driving the car.
oh yeah.
I mean, it's amazing to how much music just touches the soul.
And for it to be a guy that's successful, that could be a jerk, not a kid. But
Yeah.
he's not like that at all. He's more
No,
like you and I. He's just really nice.
you got a lot in common with us. Oh, you don't think so? No? Hey, we're all musicians,
We're all musicians.
you know.
Oh,
What else? What else?
oh, I have a story for you that's going to blow your mind. Your mind. You know the thing that I do with my pride and joy.
I do.
So I'm at the airport on the way up there. I'm at the airport in Memphis waiting for another flight. And I don't know if it's flight with Southwest. They always have like the A, B, C things. They
Right.
put you in a line because you don't have the assigned seats.
Right.
So I'm sitting there waiting for our roll to start going. And this guy behind me, in front of me, looked back and said, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "Good, man. Hey, you're the guy." He goes, "Huh?" I says, "I just got a call from corporate. They told me to show you a picture of my pride and joy." He goes, "What?" So I showed him the picture of pride and joy. You're gonna love this story. So I says, "Yeah, my pride and joy." He goes, "Oh my God." He went like this, and his eyes teared up right away, and he had tears coming down his eyes. And I said, "Oh." He goes, "No, it's not what you think. My grandfather used to show that to everybody, and he passed away 2 years ago. And you just brought back memories that." So he's crying. He's like, so then we talked for a while, and he says, "So how'd you get?" I told him how I got it the first time and how I've been doing it for over 30 years. And I think I've shown her over 30,000 times. He goes, "Wow, I got to ask you a favor, man. I hope you don't mind." I says, "What?" He goes, "Would you be okay if I called my grandmother on a video call, and then you can show her the pride and joy?" I says, "Absolutely."
This is the what? Okay, the wife. My gosh.
No, not the wife. This is I was talking to this guy,
Yeah, this is the wife of the grandfather.
the wife of the grandfather. Yeah. She says, "Hey, grandma. I'm sitting here waiting to get on a plane. And I just met a guy that showed me something that I really, really like. I wanted him to show it to you. Is it okay if he does that?" She goes, "Well, what is it?" She goes, "I'm gonna turn the phone over to him so you can see him." So I got on the thing. I said, "Hey, grandma, how you doing? I just met. I can't think of his name now, but I just met Bob, whatever his name was." I said,
Yeah, yeah.
and I showed him something. He says, "Hey, you might want to see it too." So what it is my picture of my pride and joy, and I showed it to her, and she literally crying like crazy. I'm like, "What the heck?"
And now you're crying. I love this. Oh my God. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, because I don't know. I just do it to be funny, but
Yeah, but sometimes you hit the right person and you bless their lives.
I've had actually several people during the last few years that I've done it that say that the father or somebody did it all the time, and they get emotional just because I
Yeah,
shouldn't.
because you told me a couple of months ago you did it, and someone said that, oh, my father used to do that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lady in Anna Maria Island.
Right.
She has what do you call it? Little jewelry store. And she makes the jewelry herself. So I'm in there. Terry's looking around, and the lady wasn't too polite. She's kind of like, so I says to her, "Hey, is it okay if I show you a picture of my pride and joy?" She goes, "Oh, I don't know. I guess so." So when I showed it to her, she started crying too. She goes, "Oh my God, my father used to do that all the time, and he just passed away." And here's the thing: is when my father used to do that to all my friends when they came over, he had to show it to everybody. I used to say, "Dad, stop doing that because people want to be buddy." He goes, "No, they like it. It's funny." She says, "So now what you just
Which is your line when Terry says, "Stop doing that."
so now when I did that, she goes, "So now I know that I was wrong by telling him not to do it because what you just did brought back memories like you would not believe."
Right.
She says, "All good too, of her father." It's crazy, isn't it?
So the silly joke for you that's decades old is blessing people's lives. It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome, and it's a blessing for me because if I go up to total strangers and I show them a stupid thing like that, and
Right.
they're laughing and stuff, and we're talking. It's cool. I don't know.
That is cool.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it's amazing, isn't it? Wow.
Hmm.
Huh.
So were you stuck up here for New Year's or were you home by then?
No, I was up there still.
You do anything fun?
Well, we have some friends that are really, really, really close that we've known for years and years and years. And plus the people from the Hair by Shaves.
Oh yeah.
Everybody talked about them before.
Mhm.
And
I think they're a
Natalie,
sponsor. I think they're a sponsor on the podcast, aren't they?
no, but they should be. So, what do you call it? Natalie's an unbelievable cook. She's amazing. So,
Mm.
we go there. She does stuff that I've never eaten anyplace else. It's just awesome.
Oh,
We went. Also, I was talking to them and the daughter, and I said, "Hey, listen, this is so crazy because I went to the beach the other day. I shouldn't have gone to the beach because it's a little cold, but we had a couple of days, warm days. It was one day it was 65 degrees in Hudson, Mass.
wow.
So, I was at the beach and I saw this guy with a big T-shirt with a peace sign, and he had peace sign tattoos on his arm. He had
Wow.
the hip hugger bell bottom jeans, with the bell bottom stuff.
Yeah.
I'm talking to this guy. I mean, the guy's a real nice. He's a hippie, the real nice guy. No question that he's a hippie. So I was talking to him. All of a sudden, I mentioned your name, and guess what? The Hippie New Year, the Hippie New Year, Hippie
Happy New Year!
New Year. So they were laughing, right? And then Nicole's friend came over, so I had to tell her. So I had to tell a bunch of people that stupid story about the Hippie New Year.
That's why I texted you that. I said, "Hey, the Happy New Year." I had to beat you to it because I've been hearing that one for a couple decades. The Happy New Year.
I think it's so funny. It's so stupid, but it's funny.
Oh, it's awesome. That's a dad joke. See right there.
Oh, sure, yeah. It's funny. Some of these jokes I told before I was a dad, so I'm not even sure how that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Wow.
I do indeed. How we doing time wise? What's Zoom going to do to us here?
I'm just looking at it. Looks like it might be getting close
I would say so.
to thanking us.
I would say so.
Let me see what else I was going to talk to you about.
The band here has been rehearsing. We got a gig coming up in 1 month. We're playing a club down in Kelly Square in Worcester on February 4th. It's a Saturday night. We're playing with another band, and that should be some fun.
Who's that? You playing with who?
My band, Still Face, we're playing at a club in Kelly Square called the Hotel Vernon, old place. There's a speakeasy down in the basement that's you can't get down there anymore. That Babe Ruth used to drink at, and he lived in this hotel. So it's an old spot. We played there before. It's kind of a funky, weird place. We're playing with another band, and so we're rehearsing a little extra. And it's rehearsals take on a different feel when we're preparing for a show because it's a little like, okay, let's polish this up and we get our act together. So
Huh.
that's a month away. So we're looking
So
forward to that.
Hudson, Massachusetts, a few months ago was awarded or chosen or whatever to be one of the nicest downtown Main Street downtown thing in America. It's kind of crazy.
Well, Hudson, the downtown area in Hudson has turned over in the past 10 years. It's become unbelievable.
Oh yeah, so there's one place that's like an ice cream place that has a
Mhm.
speakeasy room in the back.
Oh, I've heard about that place. Right at the Rotary, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, or in the first block off of it. Yep.
And they have these nice. They have like some trail thing that's a restaurant that's something trail. I forget what it's called.
Rail trail.
Rail trail, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's another one called Wellies, which is really good. And there's a diner at the Rotary that's been there forever and ever.
the 50s diner. I was going to ask you about that. Have you been there?
Yeah, yeah. I went there twice while we were there.
They could be a good sponsor for the show. Did you talk to them?
Well, I mean, you live close by. Sometimes it's better to do a in
I'll
person.
drop in.
You
I'll
know,
drop in. Oh, so let me ask you this, because I thought this was so intriguing. The night I went to that turkey jam at the Portuguese Club, the place was jammed. I mean, I got there at 7:10 and the parking lot was full. You know how big that parking lot is. I mean, hundreds of cars, line. It was ridiculous. So I went down the little side street next to the parking lot
yeah,
that goes past the building,
along the river.
and it becomes a dirt road. And I went all the way out to the end of it to the little turnaround to park. And right there was a pedestrian bridge that I guess went back towards downtown. And you must have known this bridge growing up there.
Yeah, that bridge goes to where the Elks is.
And does it come into downtown by the? Because it looks like it cuts across and comes into downtown by the back of the diner.
Yeah, but it still takes a while to get to the dam. But the Elks, that's where Terry and I got married, at the Elks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where we had 325 people at my wedding, our wedding. We paid for all of it, but nobody paid anything. And then you know how people are supposed to tie beer cans to the ropes to the back of your car?
Yeah.
Well, they did that and they hid it under the car, but they tied it to the muffler pipe. So now when it's time for me to leave and I'm backing up, it runs over the rope and you know rips my muffler off the thing.
Oh,
So I'm like, oh man! So now I'm driving with those cans, but my muffler was hanging, but it wasn't totally.
and loud.
No, but it wasn't totally. It's still there, but it just wasn't. That's so well. So we drive back because we went to the Pennsylvania to the Pocono Mountains.
Nice.
There's a place called Honeymoon Hideaway,
The honeymoon hideaway.
and they had these heart-shaped bathtubs. They had heart-shaped beds, and they had a big pillow, heart-shaped big pillow in front of the fireplace. And they had a bottle of champagne there for us and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
We're on the honeymoon and stuff, and you know, on that big.
Keep in mind, before you continue the story, this is a family show. Just want to make sure you know.
Right. So here's the deal. So after a while, we kind of took a little bit of a nap or whatever. Terry gets up to go to the bathroom. She goes and says, "Hey, there's smoke everywhere." So from about this far up, there's all smoke. If she hadn't woken up, we probably would have died of smoke inhalation.
Really?
I called the main office and said, "Hey,
The front desk there, yeah.
yeah." So I said, "Hey, there's smoke everywhere." He goes, "You have the fireplace on?" I said, "Yes." He says, "Open the flue." I said, "What's a flue?" He goes, "Okay, I know what the problem is. Grab your stuff, come on up, and then we'll get you into another chalet." And that's I didn't know.
I know what the problem is.
And then they have these things, sometimes when you go to these places, and they have like signs on the pole, and
Yeah, yeah.
they're pointing to clubhouse and this and that. But one of them said something. I forget what the name was, but something rare red bat.
Rare red bat.
So I'm looking at it, and it's like 1.5 miles down this trail on the mountain. I said, "Hey, Terry, you want to go for a walk?" She goes, "Yeah, sure." So we're following the signs for this something rare red bat, So I get there, it looked like a big birdhouse. I looked in the hole, and it was a baseball bat that was painted red. Do your rim shot on that one.
So you saw the rare red bat on your honeymoon at the honeymoon hideaway.
Wow.